want to introduce you guys, if you would give him a warm welcome, Mr. Rob Walker. Again, as I'm sure a lot of you know, it's not super easy to get up here, and so Rob is super comfortable in front of people, but maybe not
absolutely,
a couple hundred of you.
Absolutely.
So, tell us about yourself, Rob.
Well, first and foremost, you guys all look wonderful from the front. I will just say, usually I'm in the back looking at all the back of your heads, and y'all look good there too, but I'm just saying. So a little bit different. I'm going to tell my story from where I am now, and then we'll kind of work backwards. Most of you know my wonderful wife, Pastor Sue. We've been married for 30 glorious years. Yeah, that's not tough. So what I do, as I've kind of mentioned, I'm kind of the head usher and the head usher's head usher. So I run the team of 6 guys that make sure you don't have any problems during service. I'm also the men's 12-step director for Freedom Ministries. I started out as just a participant and worked my way through, and Teresa, for some reason, asked me to be the director. I don't know why, but, you know, she thank you, Ryan. I'm also part of the kids team. I tell the story to some of you young little kiddos over here. I am the wild and crazy storyteller. Besides Rick, he's a little more crazy than me. But so that's kind of where I am, what I do. I enjoy every minute of it. Dick was in my group. He never talked that much. Just saying. Nobody knew Dick was that funny. I'm just telling you right now. Dude, we seriously need to get on the road. I'm telling you.
So you're involved in almost every aspect of Marywood Chapel and just what you
Absolutely.
do, and so it doesn't make you immune from issues of life and things that happen, and it's not a magic pill just being involved in church. So you've been through some things recently, and again, we're going to start at the back, and then we're going to go and kind of talk about some of those things. So tell us kind of maybe some of the events that happened.
Sure. Recently, some of you may know. Hopefully I'll get through it. Some of you know how ironic that is. Usually I bring him a cup of water or something. We did lose our son through an accidental death, and might I just say you guys have been wonderful as our church family. And I'm asked every day, Rob, how do you handle that? How do you and Sue handle that? And Ben and I have been talking, and he asked me, and I said, you know what? I don't know. I honestly don't know. There's no magic pill. There's no verse in the Bible that eases my pain. But there's a peace. And I can't explain it, but I just know that old poem, Footprints in the Sand. I know right now there's only one set. And they're not mine.
And we all need positions in life where God can carry us through. And about 25 or so years ago, something similar happened, and maybe we can start from there and kind of see how you're at a place where you can express some peace, and you can, back here earlier this morning, just be the happy-go-lucky Rob that I've known since I've been here, and how you and Sue can cope and manage, and how you get through it. So.
Some of you may or may not know, our Jameson was a twin. 29 and a half years ago.
Jameson was his son.
Yes, Jameson, my son. He was a twin, and we were blessed, but they were also born 3 months early. Born at 6 months. That wouldn't be, Whew, get your math right, Rob. So anyway, and after 47 days, we lost him. Robbie was his name.
How old were you at that time? Ish,
20-ish.
Okay.
Yeah, 20s, 1980s. Yeah, 20. I was 20 years old, and in the military and doing my thing, going through basic training and job training as a medic. And I get the call in the middle of the night, hey, your babies are born and you got to come home. Okay, cool, here we come. Army compassionately reassigned me. I was able to be around for those 47 days, but then we lost. We lost Robbie, and for the next 10 years, I couldn't speak his name. Every time my wife would strike a conversation with somebody and I was in the room, I would get up and leave. Couldn't do it. Not going to do it. You can't make me do it. So I would. I'd get up and leave the room, do my thing. So as the story goes, we just kind of dealt with that, and I dealt with it in my own way, and she dealt with it in her own way. She deals with things much better than I do. I'm sure you all know that. So one day in 1991, my wife goes to a Billy Graham crusade at the Tacoma Dome when I was stationed at Fort Lewis at that time, which is now Joint Base Lewis McChord, whatever. And she comes back and she says, I got saved. I said, fantastic, that's good for you, And she, as Pastor Sue can only do, she looks right at you with her brown eyes and says, we're going to church. I said, okay. I had that, no, okay, we're going. So we went, and, for the next 10 years, it was church. I mean, don't get me wrong. I got saved sitting in the pew. There was an altar call. I changed, and I was gung ho. Let's do this, Lord, together, you and me. And but I didn't really serve. I was one of those guys that was just kind of like, what can the church do for me, so to speak?
So you went, but you necessarily weren't engaged.
Correct. Besides, the mind, I've got to read my Bible, and I've got to be nice to people, and I've got to, when somebody asks me if I'm Christian, I say yes, and so on and so forth. And so for the next 10 years, it's not really happening. And then in 1999-ish, wasn't it? I don't remember. I don't remember either. Well, we moved back here. What year did we move in here? 2001. Okay, so about 1999, 2000, before we moved in here, the church was down at the North Pines Junior High. Anybody still here from that era? Go ahead, raise your hand.
Not me.
Yeah, I know. So someone asked me, hey, Rob, someone to remain nameless sitting in the front row right here. He kind of said, hey, I need some help. And I looked at him and said, well, that's nice, What do you need, Pastor? Can I pray for you or what, And he said, you know what? I need somebody to set up chairs every Sunday, 2 services, I believe it was, set up and tear down. And I was like, wait a minute, he's not asking me to teach kids, so that's good, He's not asking me to get up on Sundays and preach, so that's good. Hey, it's a guy thing. I could do that, Set up chairs. So I did, and I set up chairs, and you know what? God met me setting up chairs. And he said, this is good. And I said, well, yeah, I can do this. This is a guy thing. I mean, it's cool. But he met me there. And then I actually saw Craig out as the building was being built and finalized and whatnot. And I said, you know what am I going to do? I said, it's not like we can set up and tear down pews every Sunday. And he said, you know what? I've been thinking about that, and I have a job for you there, too. And that was all those years ago. Still been a head usher all that time. And just over the years, it's just been, God would meet me where I am, and then I'd take a step a baby step. I'd step over that line, and he would meet me there, and it would just be not here. It was here. I had to change here before I could do everything I'm doing now.
And the drastic change from heartache, almost 30 years ago, and heartache now, which comes because of a difference in the middle.
A heart change. And it's all a heart change, and that's how I get through it. That's, like I said, 30 years ago, my heart wasn't in it. Whereas today it is, wholeheartedly. So,
Thanks, Rob. Can you give Rob a hand? That's great.